Hey YouTube, thank you so much for coming to my live stream. I realized I started talking before it actually said live. So, hi YouTube, thank you for coming. I'm really excited to continue our conversation of about Doug DeVos's speech at an Amway tool scam convention in 2018. Hope everyone's having a really good day. It's finally starting to get a little bit nicer here. So, my husband and I got on our bikes and we practiced the route that I can take to work because we're going to ride like his work is right in the middle of like my route to work, and so we'll ride half the way to hit halfway. He'll go to his work, and then I'll continue. So we practiced that route, and it took like 30 minutes. And so I'm excited to actually have an active commute again because I missed an active commute. I hate sitting on the bus. Oh, we have friends here. Hi, Johnny. Thank you for coming. Hi, Monica. Thank you for being here. Hi, Gary. Hi, Live Panic. And then hi, Mark. Yay, look at these friends. This is fun. I appreciate you guys being here. So, I don't want this one. I want this one. So, in our last video, we heard Doug tell us all about how we need to have focus, persistence, and commitment. He told us about how Amway had to overcome direct selling almost being banned in China, and how the leaders had to persist through that tough time, and that's why the leaders of Crador are where they are, because they persisted and they showcased those qualities of leadership, which is bullshit. Like, MLM is the only industry where they make legal trouble into a positive thing to showcase how strong the company is. So silly. And now we are at 15 minutes and 45 seconds, and they're just clapping because he wrapped up that part of the story. And yeah, if you didn't watch that part, the first part of this video, don't worry about it. I think it's like we picked a good spot to stop. I can't talk today. Okay, I'm ready. Let me know if this sounds weird. I did good tests and everything, and I'm ready to go.
And as we talked about this a little earlier today with Fu said 40 years, it's a great celebration. But we're just getting started. And I couldn't agree more. We're just getting started. So with the rest of my time here tonight, I want to share a few thoughts with all of you about what this business stands for and some of the points of history that are important to you and to your future, just like it was to the leaders who are here up front. That this business has a heritage that is proud and that is strong and that is important for your future. And the work that
This business has a heritage and a history of overcoming significant legal trouble by a huge ass team of lawyers who were able to get your company out of trouble, and you had the resources to lobby a whole ass government in Asia to make sure your industry can continue to operate, because you did not care about helping the Chinese people. You cared about continuing to make money off of a really large market. I was going to say something else. I've said this a million times. All the DeVosses and the Van Andels grew up in Amway. It is all they knew as children. They went to all the events. Doug has told us lots of stories about when he was younger, going to Amway events with his parents and having people over to their house in the early days of Amway. And like, they don't know anything else, especially when I see G3, so the grandkids of the founders, and some of them are like in their 20s, and that's such a critical time for development for a young adult. Your brain's not actually fully developed yet. You're just trying to figure out who they are, and you don't really have an option other than following Amway and being fully invested in it. How can they just be getting started if they're an old company? He's gonna tell us a little bit later how we're just getting started, but that's a great question. Great question because market saturation, right? This this Amway tool scam company has been around for 40 years as of 2018, but Amway itself has been around for like I don't even know, 70 years. I can't count, whatever. It's been around for a long ass time. And at what point are we in an MLM that is not just getting started? Like, it's always the right time to join, even when there are like millions of distributors already. Great point, Monica.
That leaders are doing is so that you can achieve success. And that's why we're here.
If that's true, Sir Douglas, then they would not be charging massive amounts for their training, and they would actually be providing free tactical training to their downlines because they know if their downlines are actually making a bit of money, then they'll stay in longer, and then Fu and his wife will actually make more money. And so Fu and his wife, I don't know them. They seem like I'm sure no, I don't know if they seem like nice people. I'm sure they're nice people, but they're not in the Amway tool scam business to help people. None of this is people don't join MLM. No, people don't stay in MLMs for altruistic reasons. Maybe they join thinking that they're actually going to help someone, but then I feel like once you're in for a certain amount of time, then you probably know what's going on. I feel like the ones who are like at the very top would know, and then the people at the middle and the bottom, chances are they don't know what's actually happening.
Here. That's why there's volunteers that put this event together. That's why everybody has showed up in this way. So let me tell a few things or talk a little bit about that. The first element I'll share is a story that many people, many leaders here were attending an event when we were together a little over 10 years ago at a Founders Council event. And my father was able to be there and to speak. And as he was sharing a little bit and complimenting the group for their leadership, he said, "You are such an important and wonderful group." And then he expressed a reminder to them that they already knew. He says, "You're a great, important group of people, but the most important people in the Amway business today are the newer people. The people who are just getting started, the people who are making the early steps in their journey. That is the group of people that are most important to Amway. And it's up to us to work together in a spirit of partnership to make sure that they have the best opportunity to achieve their goals and achieve their dreams." And that too is still true today.
Douglas, you're not wrong. You are correct in the sense that the people who are just getting started in Amway are the most important group of people because without those people, your Dexter Yeager, your Rocky Covington. I don't remember if Rocky has passed away or not. I can't remember. Your Fu who owns Crador Global, they would not be making any money. And you need the people who are at the middle and the bottom of the pyramid to continue losing money, or else the whole system is just going to fall apart. So you can't have people at the top without people on the bottom of the pyramid. So that's hilarious. He is right. He is saying the quiet part out loud unknowingly, in my opinion. What do you think about that? I think it's hilarious. 99% are victims, yes. 99% of people, it's not their fault. That's why on this channel, like, I've only showed distributors who I know are at the very, very top of the companies because, again, like 99% of the people in Beachbody and in Monay and Herbalife, it's not their fault and they don't actually know what's happening. And so I try my best to focus on like the individuals and the companies that like perpetuate the negative behavior, perpetuate the dishonesty, because the people in these MLMs, they are victims and most of them don't know what they're doing is wrong, in my opinion. They go from victim to predator when they choose to stay versus leaving. Yes, that's a great point. Oh my gosh, I can't say her name. Aerodil. Can you correct me if I said that wrong? But thank you for coming. We're listening to the second half of an Amway Tool Scam Company convention in 2018. And then Monica's saying hi. You're not happy with your money. You need more. That's a great point. Let's keep going.
That is why it is so important that you are here and that you know that that commitment remains to you and to your future and to your success.
You don't need to have success for food to make money. You just need to be buying products, to be buying your personal volume requirements, to continue contributing to his volume, and then he will have success. So food doesn't need you to find success. He just needs a warm body in his downline, just like any top leader in an MLM company. They just need people contributing to their paycheck. Arrow Dill, you got it. Or you can say Arrow. It's my first live I was able to catch. Ooh, nice. Thank you for coming, Arrow. I really appreciate it. This one's about Amway, so it might not be the most exciting one, but I think it's definitely educational. And in these Amway videos, we always end up learning something new. So I'm really happy you're here. In MLM, there's always something wrong with your mindset. When you don't succeed, it's your fault. You did not have the right mindset. Yep. And in old Amway videos we've watched, we've seen a younger Rich DeVos very, very politely gaslight people and say, of course she didn't find success because she didn't do what the Amway Corporation told her to do. And then the documentary cut to the same woman saying, I went to all the events, I recruited all the people, I pitched all the customers, and I still lost money. Hi, just got here. Hi, Charlie. Thank you for coming. Welcome, make yourself at home. Yes, welcome. Thank you for being here, guys.
There's a couple other things I want you to know about the Amway business and what has been accomplished over the years. And the next thing is that there are no shortcuts to being successful in this business. There's no games that can be played to be more successful more quickly than somebody else. Certainly not in a way that would sustain that success for any period of time. There's no shortcuts in the Amway business. I remember discussions I've had with leaders over the years.
So we all know that people who join MLMs, they are financially vulnerable in some sense, right? And they're missing something in their lives, like be it like finances, they might be in debt, they might be struggling to pay their bills, and they need income. And they are pitched the opportunity in such a way that you can work part-time and you'll make significant income for your family. And then they think, okay, I can work part-time and then soon I'll make my investment back and then I'll start making a profit. And then you'd have Doug DeVos saying, there's no shortcut. There are no shortcuts in this business. Then I think it kind of is like thrown back on the new distributor, and they're gaslit into thinking that they're being lazy for questioning why they're not making money in the timeline that their upline promised, and that they just want a shortcut. They just want a get rich quick scheme, even though when they were recruited, they were told that just work a few hours a day and you'll make good money. So it's a bait and switch, in my opinion. I hate that people there can't see through him like we do. Yes. And I've said this before, the me, like right after grad school, I would have been the most perfect Amway victim, the most perfect MLM victim. And at that point in my life, I did not know anything about MLMs, and I didn't know how they were scams. And if I heard someone like Doug or someone in a coffee shop come up and tell me that if I just signed up with them and I worked an hour or two a day, I would be able to make lots of money. Like, even though I was intelligent, I am intelligent, I might have believed them because I didn't know any better. They need the why. That's why in Zoom calls they're always talking about their sob stories. It's it's messed up because trauma has no place in a business environment. Yeah, like think about it in an your average employment environment, right? Have you ever had a boss sit there and say, "Tell me about the most traumatic experience you've ever had. Tell me about your biggest fear. Why do you want this job?" No, not just because of money. What is your money going to do for you? And in any other environment, there, at least where I've been, there's like a clear division. There's boundaries that you don't cross in the business environment versus like with a friend. And it's just so backwards and it's so twisted that you're expected to treat your upline and your team like group therapy when you should be talking to a therapist if you can access it, and if you can't, a loved one who you can trust. I should not be forced to divulge trauma in a Zoom call. Yes. Yes. Agreed. You should divulge trauma when you are ready, when you are equipped mentally and emotionally, and to a therapist or a close loved one. I just hate how Amway raised all their families in the biz and how they really set up the MLM model for so many others to follow. Yes, because honestly, before your brain's fully developed, you don't know any better. You don't. And yeah, I've talked about this a million times, and I think like the best video that's on my channel is that video on the Amway founding families, where we did talk about G3, the grandkids of the founders, and I just think it's so harmful for a young adult to be in this kind of environment. I completely agree.
Peers that would say, this is a simple business. It's not easy, but it's simple. And the simplicity means that it's easy for people to do things the right way so they don't have to try and find a shortcut because they don't exist. It's important that the training that you receive and the stories that you hear from the leaders are followed.
So it's so easy, but it's not simple. It's easy to do, but it's easy not to do, which is why people fail because they are not dedicated enough to actually go through with the tasks they're being told. Also, we have to make sure that the stories and the training we hear from our leaders are followed. In past Amway videos, we've heard that you cannot ask questions. You do what you're told and you follow the systems that your upline provides you. You check in with your upline constantly if you want to get to platinum, and then you'll find success. Even though it is our own business, we have to do what our upline tells us to do. Mark said, does he really believe this bullshit? Probably, because he was raised in it. He spent his whole life in it.
Because those are the tried and true methods of being successful. Now, of course, things get updated over the years, things get improved, the business moves forward. But I think it's important for you to know that there are no shortcuts to success, that the people who are successful today, who are sitting over here today, did the same things they're asking you to do as you move forward to achieve your success. We are all.
I have a lot to say. So, how come we all have to do our business in the exact same way? Just because something worked for one person in Amway does not mean it's going to work for someone else. Like, someone else may be terrible at live video. Like, not everyone can do it. I can barely do it myself, and I do it several times a week, right? Maybe not everyone wants to do live video. Maybe not everyone is capable of leading a Zoom call or like writing really eloquent social media posts. So just because they're tried and true methods for for someone like Dexter Yeager doesn't mean it's going to be a good method for someone just coming into Amway in 2023. Wait, I'm confused. I thought it was simple but not easy. And what does that even mean? Everyone says that. Everyone in every MLM says that at some point. They're successful because they entered very early. Yes, yes, yes. Dexter Yeager was a baby. He was like 20 something when he entered. Took him a while to find actual financial success, but when you enter a business in like the 60s and you stay in it for a million years, of course you're going to make lots of money. Of course you are. Heather is the perfect upline. Thank you, Mark.
all in this business together. The other thing I want to share with you, or another thing I want to share, is that there's no special deals. From the very beginning of the Amway business, there were no special deals for anyone. Everybody started the exact same way. All the leaders that we sell today started the exact same way that you started. They didn't get a special deal. They didn't have an advantage. They bought a kit, they signed up, and they went to work. In the early days of the Amway,
Why do you why does that even need to be stated if people truly didn't get special deals? If people truly don't get special deals, you don't need to say it and you don't need to keep going with it. Like he's going to keep talking and share a story, and we've heard people who like allegedly get like bridge contracts to go over to other MLMs and get put in a really, really high spot in the upline and get a built-in team for them already. We heard Ray Higdon a million years ago in one of my videos say that he sold his downline to someone. And so someone literally just paid Ray a lot of money and was on the top of his pyramid and was already put in a really good advantage. Some people, like in Monet, are allowed to buy their ranks and they don't get in trouble for it. They're allowed to get their team to buy a bunch of products to manipulate the comp plan and rank advance or sustain their ranks. So people sketchiness happens in every single MLM everywhere. And then Monica, yeah, they had an advantage. The market was not as saturated as it is today. Yes, freaking Dexter in the 60s and 70s. Not as many people were in Amway. Not as many people were fucked over by Amway. Amway was yet to be banned. Not just Amway. Direct selling was yet to be banned in China. It was before the FTC turmoil with Amway. Not as many people knew it was a scam. So Dexter had an easier time, but then he even took 40 years to get to the highest level of recognition in the company. And him and Birdie standing there on the stage saying, you can do it too. Sure, if you stay in for 40 years, you can get the same level of success as Dexter. That was a weird way to say Dexter. It's like Dexter. Yeah, very sketchy, no special deals. And he's gonna go into a whole ass story about it. MLMs are evil. Yes, I agree. I agree. And then Monica agrees too.
business, when the business was just getting started, many people would approach my father and Jay and they would say, they would tell of their sales history and experience. They would talk about the things that they had done to build a sales organization and that they had achieved much success in other areas and that they might be interested in Amway. But certainly, if they were going to make that decision, that Amway would have some sort of special arrangement for them. Surely you would have a special place for us where we would have an advantage over everyone else because of all of our experience. And Dad and Jay would give them the same answer every time. So there's no special deals in Amway. You start just like everybody else. Buy a kit, get going. It's all the same for everybody.
And why do you need to talk about it for so long, dude? Why is this even a part of your freaking speech if it's not a thing? This makes me feel like it's a thing in your freaking company if you have to obsess over it in a freaking speech. So maybe he's saying this too, that if anyone would go to the upline and say, look, I'm not making any money, what the hell is going on? And then they could come back and say, like, there are no special deals in Amway. You don't have an advantage over anyone else. You just have to work harder. There are no special deals. So maybe it's a way to kind of like throw it back on the distributor who's not making who's not making any money and kind of distract them from the fact that they're in a pyramid scheme. So if you missed the last video on this, that guy here, this friend is Fu. He is the founder of Creator Global, which is a massive Amway tool scam company. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's their special deal. This was 2018. He started in 1978, this man. Had he talked about the products at all on what they're supposed to be selling? What does Amway provide? He has not specified anything about the company. No talk about the products. Not in this one so far, not in the other, like the first half of the video either. Great point. Great point.
And along those lines, while it was the same for everybody, it also meant it was available to everybody. If you were to give a special deal for one group of people, that would mean you are not giving a special deal to another group of people, and that is absolutely against everything we believe in. This business is available to all people. It always has been, and it always will be. It doesn't matter what your background is. We have people that have tremendously successful backgrounds, who've had great success in a variety of areas, and have joined the Amway business, and they didn't get any advantage.
I was just looking at the time. I'm pretty sure Always Marco is going live in 4 minutes. And so if you want to go check him out, feel free to hop off if you want. And then you can come watch the replay later. They're not good with their real employees. Interesting. I did not know that. That's interesting and not surprising. He's saying everybody can join. This business is available for everybody. Sure, because all you have to do is buy a starter kit and then you're randomly a salesperson for Amway. And that's the problem in MLM, that anyone can join. Anyone can try to sell products that they don't know anything about, and then it can turn into a kind of dangerous situation where sometimes people are selling like supplements or diet programs when they don't know anything about health or about how people's health conditions could interact with what they're selling them. Available to all warm bodies welcome. Yes, it doesn't matter who you are. They do not care. They want you in their downline to contribute to Foo's bottom line and to Doug's and Jay's bottom line. If I did not know about MLM and I was in that conference, I would be confused. I'd be lost because, like I said previously, he's not saying anything of importance. Yeah, he's just going on for like 10 minutes about how they don't give special deals. Like, I think, Monica, you're the one who said this. This could all be an email.
And we've had many people who did not have success in their lives, who had very difficult backgrounds and upbringings, but they were welcomed into this business with open arms, with support and love and encouragement to move forward.
Of course, people with not good upbringings were welcomed because you want people who have a hard childhood, a hard upbringing. So you can force them to share their trauma, like Monica said, on a Zoom call in an Amway team meeting. And then they are able to like connect with other people who have similar trauma on their team and use that trauma to connect with, I just hit my mic, to connect with prospects who have similar experiences to them, because trauma sells in MLM and it's so backwards and so harmful. We shouldn't have to share trauma. We shouldn't have to share history about our upbringing unless we are ready. Love bombing and manipulation to suck you in. Yes, you as the brand new people to Amway are so important to us. You're the reason that Amway is what it is, right? Yeah, great point. Okay, Monica, I think you got a shout out on Losing Fortunes Radio last night. Not sure if you listened to it yet. Monica, look at you go. That's amazing. Ooh. Wow. Is that what Marco's reacting to right now? Or did he already react to that? That's funny. That's great. Monica said for real. Ooh, I don't know like what they actually said, but yeah, if Scott gave me a shout out, I would think that's pretty funny for sure. Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Again, people would go in the early days to my dad and Jay and say, when you want to start teaching people to identify those who could be more successful than others when they're talking about the business opportunity, so that people don't have to waste their time on people who may not be as successful. And Dad and Jay would reject any of that sort of discussion, because they would ask the question.
Bye, Johnny. Thank you for watching and have fun at Marco's Live. Thank you for coming. I'll go check it out later. Nice. And Monica, feel free to jump over if you want to, but it's really cool that you're here. Thank you for hanging out. So he's saying they would reject the idea every time about like figuring out who to focus your efforts on and who would be successful in the company and who wouldn't. And I think that's bullshit because we all know that people are taught to focus on those who are actually producing volume, who are actually selling and hitting and maintaining ranks. And we know that if you stop maintaining or hitting your ranks, then you will not get the attention of your upline anymore, unfortunately. And it's strange that we have to earn our training. We have to earn leadership from our upline when we're told when we start that we are in business by ourselves, for ourselves, but not by ourselves, and we'll have our upline with us every step of the way. So that's another bait and switch, in my opinion.
That could not be answered by those sorts of people. They said, who would you leave out? What's the group of people that you would leave out and not share opportunity with? And Dad and Jay were always focused from the beginning that this is an opportunity that's available to everybody, wherever you come from, whether you're sitting in this side of the auditorium or in this side of the auditorium, in the corner or in the front. It doesn't matter where you are, even if you're not in this meeting. This opportunity is for everybody.
Like always, when you leave, you get blocked, even if you left in good terms. Yes. Yes, and I think unfortunately that kind of thing happens in like a normal employment environment sometimes. Like I left an old job and I like was very respectful even though it wasn't a good environment for me and I didn't say anything negative. I was very very professional and I still got kind of like the cold shoulder when I was leaving and my manager at that place of work didn't even like talk to me while I was getting ready to leave. And so I think that kind of thing can happen anywhere, but it is more prevalent in the MLM industry, of course, because they're your family, they're like your brothers and sisters and your lifelong friends. But then when you leave, people feel like it's a personal attack on you and that you no longer care about them because you're leaving their company and then you lose all your friends. And so I could understand how hard it is to leave because you're not just leaving a job, you're also losing your friends. That's a great point, though.
And you have seen by the leaders in this organization for 40 years how they have reached out to people from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, to say, how can I help the opportunity be real for you too?
I'm sorry. I have a lot to say. So I don't remember who this was. We've watched a lot of Amway Friends, but someone was saying like it once you find out what their profession is, you say, "Oh, I want an engineer on my team. Oh, I want this occupation on my team," because they don't really care who it is. Like, they don't care who it is, they don't care what you do, but they're gonna tell you, "Oh, I'm looking for an engineer from Tennessee to join my team." If you happen to be an engineer from Tennessee, they're going to say that. They're going to revise and switch up their pitch to meet you to make it seem like you're in the right place at the right time by meeting them when you are. It's a commercial cult. Yes, agreed.
That's why we're here celebrating. That's worthy of celebration. All right. For 40 years, we're celebrating the building up of people, the focus on individuals.
Anyone in Amway, did you feel like you were built up, or who's been in Amway, do you feel like you were built up and supported and cared about in Amway? Or was it the other way around? I'd like to hear your experiences if you want to, no pressure. It always bothers me when they refer to their job as a family. No, my coworkers are just my coworkers, not family. Some have become friends, but never family like MLM insinuates. Yes, it's great if your coworkers become close friends, but not all of them do, and that's okay. And I think it's healthy to not think of your workplace as a family. Unfortunately, before watching these MLM videos, I didn't really see how strange it is to say the whatever family, the blank family. Oh, I love our family here. I didn't really realize how twisted that is, honestly. And once like getting into this content like 3 years ago now, actually, like right at the beginning of the pandemic, I'm like more aware of language and like how the words that we choose to use in our workplace environment could contribute to a cult like setting, in my opinion. That didn't really make sense. I'd run away if my job said we are family. Not supported, it's a fake friendship. Hmm. And he knows this. I think he knows how the majority of his people are treated, but they have to make it seem like it's a supportive, loving environment when that's not the case.
So that they can achieve success and have opportunity that's unlimited. They're builders. A number of years ago in our hometown in Grand Rapids, Michigan, we got involved with a building project. There was our city center was in trouble and it needed some investment, and so Amway invested with a developer to build a building that would be helpful for our community to move forward. And the project didn't go very well. In fact, the building was not built well. It was horrible. It was literally falling apart. We had to put nets around it so that bricks didn't fall on people walking by. And there was a discussion amongst our families at what to do next. The developer who we had partnered with had left town. He was from somewhere outside of our hometown. And we were kind of stuck with this building.
So, Douglas, how does it feel to purchase a service, purchase something from a company and then you do not get what you paid for? So maybe your parents did not do their due diligence and hired a kind of shady contractor, or maybe they did their research and the individual may have like misrepresented their services to them and did not deliver what they promised, similar to what you say in Amway, where you buy a starter kit and you are in the exact same place as everyone else. No one has an advantage. Everyone can find success in this business. the contractor could have misrepresented what they were going to provide you and lied to you, and you could have been scammed. Now, I don't know anything about this. I did not do any research on this, but that's just an interesting story. And Douglas, it probably doesn't feel very good, does it? I'm retired, and never in my whole career did I ever want my job to be a family. Ugh. Exactly, Live Panic, yeah. I completely agree. I think it's weird. I think it's a little sketchy when you hear, like, your CEO, your high up people refer to you as their family. Nope. Because in a job, like, we're replaceable, right? Some of us have really kind and caring bosses who like us and support us in our workplace, but others have bad bosses. And for a lot of people, you are replaceable. And so when they like to say you're our family, I think it could be a way just to like keep you in the organization for longer, right? I hate when they lied about time freedom too. Yes. Your comments, Monica, are on point today. I love them. Keep them coming.
Well, people had done some research on our options and they said, well, you could rebuild it and it would cost this much. Or you could just tear it down and get the insurance money back and cut your losses. And the people who were making the presentation recommended that we tear it down, get the insurance money, and cut our losses. And this was a while ago when those of us in the second generation were a bit younger. And we thought that would be a great idea. In fact, we thought in the process of taking this building down, we could make a movie about it. We could bring in Hollywood. It would be a big action movie, and we could have explosives and fire, and we could turn it into a big party. And as we kind of were joking about these sorts of things, my father and Jay got very quiet. And my father looked over at Jay and said, Jay, what do you think? And Jay was just quietly shaking his head. He said, no, we're not going to do that. He said, we're builders. We don't blow things up or tear things down. We build things up in Amway, and that's what we're going to do.
That story was not that deep, sir. Even if it's real, which I doubt that that whole thing is true, and that Jay was just like, no, we're builders. I doubt that, but like if that's true, it's not that deep. They didn't want to tear down a building that they promised because like that's a bad look for Amway. That's bad publicity. And so of course you would want to like rebuild it or improve it or like repurpose it for something else. So Amway doesn't look like they don't know how to do business properly. Like it's no. You're not builders. You're trying to get yourself out of a bad situation, right? That's a good point. Oh my god, yes. You mean defrauding the government? Defrauding insurance companies? Yes. I have learned a lot from JJ and Julie Anderson and the rest of the anti-MLM movement. Yes. Yes, I love learning new things about new companies and new like manipulation tactics, psychological aspects of MLM that I didn't know before. I love learning while just listening to YouTube while I work. It's so fun. And I'm happy to hear that. Almost done, kind of, like 5 minutes.
Builders, building people up. That's what's happened for 40 years in this organization. That's what we celebrate tonight. And if I could leave with one final story. A number of years ago, early in my career,
Something else. Do you think everyone in Amway has access to the co-founder's son. No, of course not. Like, not everyone will have Doug DeVos at their trainings, and I feel like your upline would have to have a certain level of status to have him there. And that's also an advantage. If you have direct access to him, that's another advantage. That's like you're already starting ahead of other people in Amway, in my opinion. And it's just so comical to hear him say no one has an advantage in Amway. You have an advantage if you start early. You have an advantage if you have direct access to him and Steve, not Jay. You have an advantage if you were previously a salesperson. You have an advantage if you have a massive network. You have an advantage if you're in a career that has a lot of public speaking. You could have a lot of different advantages in the MLM industry. God, the word salad from this guy. Yes. And there's one more useless story.
I had an opportunity to live and work in Europe. And
I think like there's some like legitimacy that you could have as an Amway distributor if Doug DeVos was even at your event in general. Like you could use that to motivate your team. If your downline didn't have access to the event, you could say like if you work hard enough, you could be in the same room as Doug DeVos. You're right. Probably the only like 1% or like 0.05% can actually like talk to him one on one. But I think him being in the same room as you in the Amway world could help you. If Mark is still here, what do you think about that?
I wasn't really thrilled about it at first, I must admit. I was very nervous. I was scared. I was young in my career, and I wasn't.
Okay, I feel like I paused it at a bad time. Okay. I think this is a good spot. Sorry.
A number of years ago, early in my career, I had an opportunity to live and work in Europe. And I wasn't really thrilled about it at first, I must admit. I was very nervous. I was scared. I was young in my career, and I was afraid of failing. And as it became more and more real, and as it seemed like, well, maybe I should do it anyway, I had a little time to talk.
So he was afraid of failing, and it became more and more real, and he decided he should just do it anyways. So just like in Amway, you could be afraid of failing, but you just have to jump in and do it anyways. Like a lot of things and advice in MLM, it sounds really reasonable from a broader level, and you think, yeah, I should do things that scare me. It'll help me get better, help me expand as a human. But if you're doing things that will give you a panic attack, if you're doing things that make you feel sick and make you feel like you're overstepping your boundaries, then that's probably something you shouldn't be doing. And you can't compare moving away to Europe with your wife when you're a young adult to joining a pyramid scheme that you feel negative feelings about. They're not the same thing. Moving to Europe will help your career, will help your development as a young person. Maybe you'll learn a new language, maybe you'll see new things. Joining Amway will most likely just harm you, in my opinion. So true on that, Heather. Yeah, just having like being in proximity to Doug will legitimize your business, I think. It might not actually lead to any financial gain, but it might like get more eyes on you in the Amway universe.
Talk about it with Jay Van Andel. And I went to Jay's office, and he encouraged me. And he talked about the opportunity, and he talked about the business, and he talked about overcoming fear. And in the middle of the conversation, I vividly remember him saying to me, Doug, I'm counting on you to do a great job over there. And the conversation continued. And I left encouraged. And I always remembered that phrase, counting on you. Well, I did go to do that assignment. My wife and I did, and we enjoyed it tremendously. It was a huge step forward in growing and developing as young people. And we came back from that.
You are not going to grow and develop as a young person and find any emotional or mental benefit from joining MLM. That's not the case. It's not going to happen for you. And I think you saw in this story about the other co founder, Jay, saying, I'm counting on you to do a good job. And then Doug was motivated to go to Europe. I think maybe he's using that story as a way to say, like, look, I'm giving you the encouragement that you need. I'm counting on you to do a good job. Now go out and recruit lots of people, sell lots of products, and rank advance, and do an amazing job, right? Because all we need is just encouragement, and then we will find massive financial success. What he said there about Europe, okay, sure, outside of an MLM, but that sorry can't be applied in an MLM because it's designed to fail. Yes, exactly.
That event, and I thought about that meeting with Jay and how he had encouraged me. And I realized that he wasn't just talking to me. If he were here right now, he would say the same thing to each and every one of you. He would say, I'm counting on you to do a great job with this business, right? He'd say, I'm counting on you to learn the things that are going to be important to be successful. I'm counting on you to be determined in your future. I'm counting on you to be focused and to set your goals before you. I'm counting on you.
No, sir. Jay and Rich do not care about the lower level distributors. They're counting on them to stay in the pyramid for as long as humanly possible, to lose lots of money, so Fu, people like Dexter Yeager, people like Bill Britt could continue to make lots of money. So yes, they counted on their people. They counted on the lower level people, but not to find brilliant financial success, but to line the pockets of those at the top. And Doug and Doug and Steve and their families. I hate it. I hate it. Of course, they're counting on distributors because that's how they make their money. Yes. The awkward applause, right? So awkward. We're almost done.
To be persistent when challenges come your way.
To ignore negative attention that your company's getting, to ignore being banned in a whole ass country, to ignore the critique, to ignore the legal battles, to put your blinders on and just focus on selling the product and trying to recruit as many people as possible.
And when you want to give up, I'm counting on you. And he would especially say to the leaders here, I'm counting on you to keep the dream alive like you have done for 40 years. Counting on you to stay true to the values and the principles of this Amway business. Counting on you to be the real, live leadership examples that others can follow. Counting on you to make sure we put other people in positions of authority and respect, and that we dedicate ourselves to helping others as the most important people in Amway.
Selling the dream, the products is an afterthought just to keep them barely legal. Yes, selling the dream of, like, you stay in Amway for as long as possible. You will be a leader. You will be respected. You will be in a position of authority. You can have your own Amway Tool Scam conference with 20,000 people. You can also be rich, just like Fu, just like Dexter Yeager was rich. You can do it too. Because Dexter did it, because Fu did it, means that we can all do it too. Even though it's impossible for there to be just as many people at the top of the pyramid than there are at the bottom of the pyramid. You need to have tons of people on the bottom in order to have those couple people at the top. Just because the scam worked for some people in Amway does not mean that it's not a scam, and does not mean that if I were to join Amway today, that I would also make lots of money.
Right? Counting on you.
Do you think Doug Jr. knows this is bullshit? Like, do you think that guy is like, "What the crap is my father saying? This doesn't make any sense. These people are being exploited." Or do you think he thinks it's brilliant too, right? Because he's very young, Doug Jr., but I think he's past 25. I think he's in his like late 20s now. And so like late 30s or late 20s, early 30s now. So his brain is fully developed. He has the ability to think critically about what's happening around him, and the 10,000 people who are in that audience are putting themselves into even greater debt to potentially travel from another country to be here to listen to empty motivational platitudes.
And I know that as we continue to work together and stay true to our principles and stay true to the foundations of this business, we'll not only celebrate 40 years, we'll celebrate the next 40 years and the next 40 years and beyond. And I know that we can do it together. Thanks, everybody.
So that was the end of that. So that was a speech from co-founder son Doug DeVos at the 2018 Crador Pyramid Amway Tool Scam event, and he told us a lot of different things. He told us about how Amway, they funded the development of a building, they were scammed by the contractor, and no, they could not tear it down and commit fraud. They had to build it back up because Amway, they are builders, right? We learned that we have to have the leadership qualities in order for us to succeed. We have to have determination. We have to be dedicated. I can't even remember anything else. Usually I have things to say at the end of this and my brain is dead. Did we have any other learnings? I don't remember, but that's okay. That's okay. That was painful. It sure was painful. And none of this none of this is going to help these people run their business. Oh, something else, the Amway family, right? So, in order to find success, we have to be a part of the Amway family. We have to listen to what our leaders tell us to do. We have to follow the stories and the trainings of what our leaders tell us to do, even though we are our own independent business owners. No, we have to do what we're told. Oh, we also learned that the co-founders who unfortunately passed away many years ago, they are counting on us to be good leaders. They're counting on us to help other people see the potential of the Amway business in their own life and make it real for them. I remembered some learnings. I'm happy about that. My brain went completely blank. Completely. Heather is a great resource. Thank you. Thank you. I love the contradictions. Yes, all of these speeches are filled with contradictions, especially the Amway ones for sure. Oh, yes, and we learned that this opportunity is available for everybody, meaning they want any warm body possible. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what your education is. Everyone, no one has an advantage. Everyone starts at an equal level playing field, and all you need to do is just buy a starter kit. That's another learning. I wonder if all these people really wanted to be there, the vibes weren't there. Mhm. Yeah, it's also, like was it in Bangkok? Yeah, in Bangkok, and so, like, maybe in, like, other parts of the world, it's just not, like, common to, like, scream and cheer and, like, be really, like, loud and excited at these events, right? But you're right, like, no it didn't seem like everyone wanted to be there. Maybe there was a lot of pressure to buy the ticket, and like maybe people were stressed about like the financial implications of such an expensive trip. I wonder if they were forced. Maybe they were forced. That's a great question. It's so hard when I'm done and it's just my face on the screen because I always wanna, like, stare at myself because, like, my face is huge right now, but it's like, "No, stare at the camera, stare at the camera." So, thank you to anyone who was here at all throughout. I know we all had a lot of options for really fun content today, so I appreciate everyone who popped in and hung out and those who stayed for the whole thing. It was really fun. Really enjoyed talking about Amway again. I haven't been done that in a little while and gonna do some more, of course. And yeah, I'll be live again on Tuesday, like my normal time. Don't know what it's about, but if you can come to that live, that would be really fun. If not, you can watch the replay. You're welcome, Lip Panic. Thank you for coming. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye.